Okay, so it's finally here. Start a Binge-Worthy podcast. My brand new book is officially out into the world, and I wanted to share a little bit about what this journey has been like. So check this out. Hey y'all, Crystal here today. And like I said in the beginning, my brand new book, Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast, is officially out into the world. And so to celebrate, I thought I would share a little bit about what this journey has been like, because it actually started over a year ago. And I'm so grateful for how everything has turned out. Given that 2020 has just been such a crazy year, it has actually been such a blessing to have created and launched this book. It's officially out there. So you can go to thebestpodcastbook.com to order your copy. But check this out. Here is a few clips from this journey. Hey everybody, Crystal here. So I just wanted to hop on real fast and give you kind of a quick synopsis of why we're here and why I am doing a launch team for this book. So first of all, I believe most of you are already familiar with who I am, but if you're not, I am Crystal Profit, and I teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. And I'm writing a book. I'm actually right in the middle of finding the right name for it. I want to call it the podcast book for now, but there are certain things that I'm going into a lot of great detail. There's a lot of research that I'm doing for how to name the book, and so I'm like, I want to call it this book, but for now we're just going to call it the podcast book because I don't have the official title of what it's going to be called. But and I'm like, yeah, but it sounds crazy. And even in December, I kind of wavered back and forth on whether I was going to do this or not do this. And I just decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I knew that I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to have the ability to share my journey with other people. And so that is you. I just wanted to give you an update on the book and what I'm doing and the process. And y'all can tell me if this is helpful or it's not helpful. The goal of this book is not to make thousands of dollars and be a #1 New York Times bestseller, all that jazz, because I know that that's not going to happen. I've self-published one other book, and I know the process, and I know the stages, and I know that a self-published book typically doesn't do what a traditionally published book does. However, patience is not one of my strong suits, and I know that you could get a book deal for a traditionally published book, and it could take you up to 2 to 3 years. And let's face it, guys, this is 2020, and podcasting since I started has already dramatically changed, and I see it's just gonna continue exponentially change even faster as time goes on. So that is why I chose the route of self-publishing and why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing and the stages that I'm doing and everything. So, hey everybody, or should I say good morning. I know, total hot mess express going on here. It's 6:20 in the morning. I hear my son's alarm going off, but I wanted to make sure that I did a Friday update because there were some cool things that happened this week. And I met with an editor earlier this week who I believe is going to be the person that's going to edit my book. Now, I have met with a few different people in January to see what things I need to figure out first, and the chronological order of the way that things need to happen is I need to finish naming the book. That's I have to do that by January 31st. So I still got a while, but I'm I want to get it nailed down. So I have to name the book in order to start marketing it, actually putting the name out there, but also to find a book jacket, a copy, book. It's not called book copy. The book cover. That's what I'm thinking. So in order to create the book cover, you have to have a title, right? Because that's what they have to put on the book. So so that's what I'm doing. And then an editor is someone who I want to hand my completed manuscript over to. And I wanted to find her before I was finished because I didn't want to waste time finding an editor after I was done. And it kind of gives me like more pressure of you got to get it done by January 31st. Like I want to see this first draft done. I'm gonna just keep you in the loop on what's going on, even if I don't have any significant updates, which I really don't. Other than I see my deadline approaching. It's actually a week from today that I wanted to have the first draft of the manuscript done. And so my latest update is I've written, I want to say I'm up to 9 chapters completed, and this has 20 chapters total. And I know you're like, Crystal, what are you thinking? You can write 10 chapters in a week. That is not like, I'm not totally starting from scratch. I've taken pieces of content from other places. So while I say, oh, I have 10 more chapters to write, I'm actually already at, I want to say 35,000 words. And my goal was to get to around 50,000 words. So, and in order to kind of light this fire under me, because that's really what I need a hard deadline, because I'm a procrastinator, and the only way I overcome procrastination is give myself a goal, give myself a hard deadline. And the way that I gave myself a deadline was I decided on the launch date, and I've been working back from there, and I gave one for every month. I have a specific deadline. I had to do this by this date, this by this date. So January 31st just felt like the right time for me to say, this is when I'm going to have my first manuscript. Like, it's got to be done by this time. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's not going to be the version that you read. It's not going to be read by anybody else besides myself and the editors. Hello, my fabulous book launch people. This is my robe. It's early. It's Saturday morning. It's early, and I say early. It's not really early, but it is because I haven't eaten breakfast yet, and I've only had coffee. But so I did not reach my goal of 50,000 words by January 31st, but I hit 42,000 and some change, and I'm gonna finish the rest today, which would technically be the 1st of February. And I'm just not even gonna be like upset about it. I'm not under contract with someone that's like, you have to finish it by this date. But anyway, I just wanted to give y'all an update to say I'm working on it, and I am gonna give myself some grace. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm just not gonna let it like totally mess me up, because it would be easy to say, oh, I didn't hit my goal, just quit. You know, like, I mean, how often do we default to that? It's like, you didn't get it done, you should just give up because you suck. Like, I mean, it's so true. Like, that's really where we default to. And I just don't think that that's the way that we should talk to ourselves and treat ourselves. So I did not hit my goal yesterday, but it will happen. It will happen before this weekend is over. I will have a completed first draft, and we'll keep going with our lives, because it's the only way that this is going to get done. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done, and you got to hit those milestones along the way and keep going. Hey y'all. Hi everybody. So, oh, the computer turned off. So it officially happened. I'm done writing the book. Now, to be clear, I have not finished the dedication, the introduction, like all those things, but the official first draft is finished. Now, did I hit my 50,000 words? I did not. I am about 45,000 words, but I feel like if I keep adding, it's gonna turn into fluff, and it's not going to be the actionable book that I want it to be. And so even if it's a shorter book, I think that that's okay. And I'm not going to sit here and like put pressure on myself to like, oh, you just got to write more stories, write more this and that, because I know that in the editing process, if I do want to add, if I can think of more stories, or if I, something comes up that really hits me that I'm like, oh, I need to add that in, then that's fine. But for now, y'all, the book is done. Like I've put my stamp on it. I've said the first draft is done as of today, right now, just a second ago. And I'm excited. Okay. So I just wanted to share some feelings that I'm having. Oh, and I have been going back and forth on whether I was going to do this the way that I did. And I was like, you know what? I need to share this with y'all because this is important. So I went back and forth on whether or not I was actually going to use a book editor, right? So I found an editor. I got really excited, and I tend to do this. I know this about myself. I get really excited. I get caught up in the moment, and I'm just like, oh, I found the person I need to work with. But then I started questioning whether I needed to actually use her services because it was a lot of money. Like, it was not cheap. And the reason why is because she comes highly referred. Like, all the qualifications are there. So anyway, I had this mindset shift of like, where's this coming from? I'm like, oh, you don't want to pay for it because like you have this scarcity mindset of like, oh, you only have this much money and you're never going to make that money back. But then I had this moment of needing to take myself seriously and what I'm doing. And I said, you know what? You're going to pay for this because you're going to make that money back in the next month or the next few weeks or this quarter. Like, you're going to make that money back. Stop having this scarcity mind frame of like, oh, I cling very tightly to my money that I've made, and I'm a saver, and that is my nature. I don't spend a ton of money on my business and my personal life. Like, I just don't spend a lot of money. And so I'm like, you know what? No, you're making an investment in yourself to take yourself seriously and to level up. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm totally nervous about it. I wanted to give you an update. So I just got my edits back from the book editor. What? I'm so excited. So go through and look at all of her notes, and then we are going out of town for spring break. So I'm actually going to print off. I haven't decided how I want it to have it printed. Actually, anyway, so that's what I'm going to really work on doing, my run through of the edits, go back in, add any stories that I forgot or anything. Because remember, I started this in September of last year. I started planning, I started doing some of the writing, and then whenever I stopped and turned it into the editor in January, I haven't looked at it. I haven't even opened it. I haven't done anything to it because I wanted to give my brain a full kind of reset on all the things that I said. That way I could go back in with a fresh eye and look at it, do one more pass through, and just figure out what we want to do for the last edit of this book. And I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous because oh my goodness, here we go again. See, I have on the same sweater. I just not realized it. I was like hitting live, which is funny because this isn't my favorite sweater. I just feel like I always wear it whenever I go live in this group. And my glasses are so dirty. I just put them on real fast because I'm gonna go watch TV. I'm actually trying to walk away and not be working right now, but I wanted to share with you something that I just did. So this is the first copy of the book. And now what I did is the editor sent back all the changes that she made, and I'm gonna see if I can turn this around. So I went and had this printed. So how to start a podcast your audience will crave. March 21st, 2020. Well, I've been a little more quiet in this group lately. Some obvious reasons, other I'm processing day to day. But I told y'all I'd be transparent on this book journey, and I meant it. I'm pausing the book project for a hot minute. I was super distracted editing over spring break, and now, well, every time I sit down with it, I feel like I need to work on something else. I feel confused, I feel frustrated, I feel my energy, time, and emotions are everywhere but in this book. And that's just how I feel today. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I know it's part of the process. It's just that this time around, I can actually blame it on something outside of myself. But I just want you to know that this happens in the journey, all of our journeys. I'm not burning it or deleting anything. I'm simply putting it in a metaphorical drawer until I can find the headspace to work on it again. That may be 1 week, maybe 2, it could be months from now, but I'm not stopping. That's why I plan for this book to release in October. I could have had it done and ready to go by April 1st. However, I'm not. I added margin in the plan for space, for error, for distance. Not social distance, but at least I have an interesting story to add to my introduction now. So I hope you stay with me along this journey. I'm still here, I'm still going, just a few steps slower and off the path right now, but I'm still moving forward. Stay safe and healthy, friends. Crystal. Hey everybody, Crystal here. I hope that you're having a great Saturday. The kids are in there hanging out, and I was like, I really just want to work on the book a little bit. Last Sunday was the first time I'd sat down to work on anything with the book since everything happened, really, with the pandemic. And when we went on spring break, which was at the beginning of March, that was when I first really started editing the hard copy. I sat down last Sunday for the first time with the edits that I got back from my editor on the computer. So if y'all didn't know this, if you missed one of my earlier videos, I actually printed out the entire hard copy of the book. Also doing is, you see these little sticky notes. These for me are the chapters, so I can see all the chapters. But then, this is super cool. So I am pulling out quotes that I want to highlight, and I will do this actually, I don't know what, for some reason the physical form of doing this helps me, but as you can see, I put quotables. And look at all these, you guys. Like, look at all these orange ones. The pink ones are the chapter markers. The orange ones are for me, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab those like within the document when I go to the actual, like the Word document. I have the Word document here opened, and I'm working in that today. But what I do, so I do this on the hard copy, and then I'm going back to the book version on the computer. I meant to say the electronic version on the computer, but y'all know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. And so whenever I go back, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these quotes and I'm gonna put them in my Asana plan. But what I'm doing is all these quotes, I'm gonna take them out, I'm gonna save them in Asana, and then these will be the things that I post on social media leading up to the launch of the book, or even later. So I have all of these quotes that I really like that could be, actually it could be future content too, which is funny because a lot of this already came from content I already had. I just gotta be real honest with y'all. If you didn't read that post that I put a few weeks ago when all this started, I was like, I just could not even think about doing any of the stuff with the book. And I still don't work on the book at all during the week. I have really just dedicated the weekends to working on it, which is fine with me because I'm looking forward to this time now, because I'm like, man, like I don't have to think about it during the week. I don't feel this pressure to do it, but I can work on this on the weekend, and then I don't feel pressure to, you know, work on podcast stuff or work on YouTube stuff. Like, I make sure and get all of that stuff done Monday through Friday. That way on the weekend I can, you know, hang out and get out. I've got my trusty little red pen and my Post-its, and I'm going through and I'm pulling out really important parts that I want to highlight for the promotion of the book. Hey everybody, Crystal here. So I just wanted to hop on real fast. So I know I kind of did a few ranty kind of posts that I was just over everything and ready to pull my hair out today. But I just wanted to document that that's part of the process. It really is. And I think that that's like the messy part that we don't really want to talk about. I'm like questioning everything. I finally just finished all the edits that I got back from my editor, making sure I marked up everything in my book. The whole thing was just super frustrating because I knew I just needed to get the editing done and then I'd be able to work on the formatting, because the formatting is one of the most important pieces and can also be the most frustrating because there's endless possibilities. Like you could have a font size that looks like this. You could have this kind of font. You could have spacing here. You could italicize. You could bold this, which thankfully my editor ended up doing so much of that for me to help like make sure that the headers and everything was the right, like consistent. She made sure everything stayed consistent. And so bless her so much for that, because it made my life so much easier. But I went in, I just finished this and I want to show you. It is, hang on, let me save it and make sure. But it says it's about 210 pages, which is shorter than my previous book, but I really like the way that it's formatted. I really like it. I think that it's gonna be not too intimidating. It's gonna be perfect for someone who's just getting started. And I'm actually, if I can turn this around, let me see if I can do this without dropping anything. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And then these little things are the chapter markers. That's like something I learned way back in the day when I started using Word. So I'll turn those off so it's easier to read. But yeah, so this is one of the chapters, is announce your podcast launch date, which I have my working title right now. But if you notice the post in the group today, I'm debating on changing it. I don't know yet. But it looks really good, you guys. Like this is, I'm super excited for how well it looks. Hey everybody, Crystal here. I don't really have a whole bunch of time. I'm supposed to be doing like 20 other things right now, but I had to tell you, I just saw the full layout of the book cover and I almost started crying. Like it just, I'm gonna share it. Like you'll be able to see the full, like what it's gonna look like and everything. I'm gonna show you what the mock-up looks like. But you guys, I just saw the very first like full cover of what the book's gonna look like, and it looks phenomenal. It looks so good. I'm so happy with how it looks, and I think the reason why it's so emotional is I feel like it's just one step closer to having an actual physical book in my hands that I can hold and see. Like, I guess that's the thing with books, is it's just a tangible thing that you can hold. Like you work so hard and you do all these things and so much planning and it's time consuming and just all the things, right? And then like just to be able to hold it in my hand, it's just one step closer. So I'm excited. Oh my gosh. And I just know I'm gonna have the same feeling. I'll have to like do an unboxing or something whenever I have the first printed copy in my hand, because I'm so nervous. I'm usually not this nervous whenever I go live. I'm shaking a little bit. I am so nervous. And that is because, y'all, I just got the very first proof of my new book, and it has got me so like, I'm so out of sorts right now. Like, I knew it was coming, right? It's not like it was this thing that I had no idea it was gonna be here, right? I wrote the book. I know the process. This isn't my first time. My heart is literally racing right now because I was like, I think I wanna do like, I'm not a big fan of like the whole unboxing videos and everything, but I wanted to open this on here because last time, whenever I got the first proof of my book, I was by myself. I was in the car. I was picking up the kids from school. But I still remember it having this visceral reaction that I'm having right now. And I'm so excited. Okay, so we're gonna do this together. Okay, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's here. And I can't see it through the package. So we're gonna see this together. We're gonna see what it looks like. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I can't look. I'm like, oh my gosh. I saw it. I peeked. Oh Okay. Just take deep breaths, right? Like it's gonna be okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. Here's my book. Oh my gosh. And of course it has this gross, ugly sticker on it. This is not for resale, right? Because this is an author copy. It's just a proof, but oh my gosh. So, okay. So, okay, I'm normally not this emotional in this, but I'm like freaking out. This is so cool. Okay, so start a binge-worthy podcast. It's a step-by-step guide to creating a podcast your audience craves. It is not available for sale. Not until October 20th, 2020. Okay, so I've been working on the audiobook of Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast, and I wanted to give you some updates on what's been going on behind the scenes. So I have been working on getting the cover right. So as you can see, it says like not for sale. I had a few issues with, there was a barcode issue here, and then there was another printing issue that we've gotten taken care of. But it's another reason that I'm really grateful that I kind of put the launch date way out ahead of me. So the unexpected things that come up can be dealt with, and I don't have to have a mini panic attack whenever that happens. I'm really excited. I actually wanted to come on real fast and tell you a little bit about my plan for the month of October. So October is launch month. The book comes out on October 20th, 2020. So we have 21 days. Like, this is insane how this is all going down. But I've been working really hard on getting the pre-launch runway of the book going on. And, you know, COVID happened this year and all the other things. I could have put it off and said, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work for me. But instead, I've been pushing through, and I wanted to initially have this huge thing, like this big launch party and like all these things that I imagine, right? I imagine in-person like book signings and all the things that we can't do because of this year, right? Like gridding, like all the things that I just wish that would have happened, but it's okay, right? We keep pushing through. And do you have an online business, or do you aspire to one day have an online business and you know that podcasting is the way to go? Well, I'm so excited to announce that my brand new book, Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast, is officially out into the world. Yes, hallelujah. I am so excited. It's actually the book that Amy Porterfield is saying this is the podcasting Bible. She wished that she would have had it whenever she started her podcast years ago. I'm so excited to introduce this brand new project to you, and I can't wait to hear what you think about it. So go to thebestpodcastbook.com to order your copy today, and grab a free bonus while you're there because we're handing them out. So go to thebestpodcastbook.com to order your copy of Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast, a step-by-step guide to creating a podcast your audience craves. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today. A little bit about my journey to creating Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast. It has been so much fun. I'm glad that this day is finally here where it is a book that is launched and it's out into the world. And I hope that if you're ever thinking about creating content or creating a podcast or writing a book, that you check out Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast, because there are so many great tips and lessons and strategies in there that I wish I would have known when I first started my podcast. So if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe below, and hit that bell. That way you don't miss our future videos all about podcasting and running your online business. Make sure you check out these other videos right here that are all about podcasting and running your online business. And remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.